All right, let's proceed with the first talking point of the show. And now, uncertainties in the prices of oil lingers. OPEC cut down output from 2019. Prices, however, have declined from as high as $80 earlier in the year to about $60 in early December. The question is whether this will have a significant impact on the Nigerian economy, as the country is known to depend heavily on the oil proceeds to run its activities. Join me and Dr. Emeka Okolo at the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange now to discuss the likely impact this might have on the sluggish economy ahead of the 2019 general elections. Thank you for joining us now at the floor of the exchange. Let's continue the conversation as we take a look at the declining global oil prices and how it will impact the Nigerian market. And joining me to discuss this is Dr. Emeka Okolo, the chief dealer at Molten Trust Limited. Thank you for your time, for joining me on the program.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay, let's start this way. From $80 down to about $60 or 65 US dollars, the market in terms of prices of oil is actually declining. So what do you think this will have? What kind of impact will this have on the Nigerian market? Looking at the fact that when we prepare our budget, we prepare it based on the benchmark or that we give to it within here. So how do you address this?
I don't think $60 per barrel is actually that bad. But the problem we're having is that everything in Nigeria revolves around oil. The so-called diversification we have been talking about has not actually taken place. So anytime there is a slight drop, we start panicking. Our budget was not predicated on about 65 or about 60 or 65. It was actually lower than, it's actually lower than that. So the hue and cry is what I don't even understand. However, as I said, everything revolves around oil in Nigeria. Already we are seeing the adverse consequences, of this panicking situation. For instance, CBN has depleted us for our reserves. In October, last month, if I'm not mistaken, about $2 billion were withdrawn to support the Naira. And the way it's going, if care is not taking more, I don't know what it will be in November. The situation, we haven't gotten the figure. What happened in November? I'm talking about October. We even had some euro bond, that came in. I think part of it was even used, in supporting the Naira. So the adverse effect is already being felt. The core function of CBN is price stability. I think that's what they are. If you look at for some months now, more than a year, 2 years, the MPR has been 14%. It has not gone beyond that.
That's right.
It has been 14%. And if the trend continues, we are likely to see a situation whereby the inflation, which CBN usually targets, I don't know how far they can sustain it. So far, it's clear that they can go the whole hog up to the election period. After the election period, we don't know what will happen. And OPEC so far has been talking about cutting, the supply, so that we can, so that they can have more, in terms of sales. But so far, it's not happening.
But do you see OPEC, of course, executing that decision to cut down production?
Sincerely, I don't think it will happen so soon. I don't think, from what I'm seeing, I don't think OPEC, will achieve that. I don't think.
I mean, the reason why a lot of people, of course, some analysts are beginning to come out and they are beginning to see this as a panic, is because some of them are speculating that the price of crude oil might crash below the present price now at $60 or $65.
60.
It's about $60. So do you see it going below? Because currently benchmark in the 2018 budget is about $55. Do you see it crashing below that?
Well, the oil market is highly dynamic. You know, I'm not an oil expert, but for the situation, I don't think, you know, we get to that, you know, rock bottom, you know, price. It may get to 55, I don't know, but for the look of things, from what I can, you know, perceive, we may be looking at between 55 to 58.
But should the unexpected happen?
The worst case scenario. If the unexpected happens, that's what I'm telling you. It will be difficult for the economy. Already I've told you, you know, what CBN is doing. Lots of support and I. This is an economy that is import dependent.
That's right.
Okay? So if it continues and the other sources, agric and other are not coming up, you know, as expected, there will be spike in inflation. There's no doubt about that. You know, we may get to the situation where we were in 2016, where $1 was going for as much, almost 500 naira. I don't think it will get to that, but everything will depend on the outcome of the election again. You cannot discount that. If the election goes well, you know, we smile. If it doesn't go well, I'm afraid, you know, what happened in 2016 may come back. But so far, I think CBN is bent on defending of the election period. After election period, I don't know what will happen.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask if that approach is sustainable. Looking at the fact that a lot of people are saying that they should have created liquidity in the market where retail investors or perhaps those who are into trade and all of that can have access to this money, especially through the forex exchange window, whereby they can also bring dollars into. But it seems the intervention, what they have been doing is to intervene in the naira just to sustain the naira. Do you think that approach is sustainable, or what should be, what do you suppose should have been the ideal situation?
Well, what CBN is doing, to me, is a short-term measure. Okay. You know, whether it will be sustainable or not will depend on our earning capacity. I keep on referring to that. Even our earning capacity. You don't give what you don't have. That is the bottom line. You don't give what you don't have. CBN is doing what they're doing because they still have some reserves. There is a point where it will get that you have about 41 now, 41 billion reserve. There's a point we get. I mean, they may have to change the modus operandi, you know. But companies, corporate organizations, they are free to bring in, you know, fund anywhere. I don't think there's any law, you know, barring anybody from. I don't think there is. Because
as it is now, currently, is CBN alone in charge of disbursing or intervening or selling dollars?
No. It's not. I don't think. Yes, they are the ones selling, you know, but those that have, are not precluded from, you know, using their. But you know, there are processes for, you know, there's a procedure. There must be documentation and all that, you know. Once they adhere to that, they are free to use it. What CBN is, another thing is, you know, some items were banned.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so far, I don't think CBN has lifted allowing FX, you know, to such items. To me, what CBN is doing is short term.
Okay. Let's look at let's look at the long term. What should have been there? Because as it is now, the inflation rate is at double digit. That's about 11.28%. We also have GDP at 1.8%.
There is no shortcut. Other other than for you to increase your earning capacity. Okay. If you diversify the economy.
And that is not there at the moment.
If you diversify the economy, as you have been clamoring, if you diversify the economy and you earn more and you depend less, there are some things we import, as I said, those 41 items and even some that we still import that are totally unnecessary. They apply they exert a lot of pressure on the naira and the foreign reserves we have. So those things are not necessary. We have to tell ourselves the truth. Whether the economy, whether we fashion the economy the Nigerian way, or we still have to depend, on our side. The choice is between us. So we must, as a matter of urgency, increase our earning capacity. That's not the way.
And that is not happening at the moment.
And then the ones you have, the foreign exchange you are making, we deploy it to the productive sector. Not importing also all manner of things. Industries, we need machineries and all that. These are things, we should be concentrating our attention on, not frittering the few we have, on non-essentials. As far as I'm concerned, some of them are non-essentials.
Okay, let's quickly take a break and we'll be back to talk more. Of course, it's still market analysis. We'll be back in a moment. Join us again. It's the market analysis with Dr. Emeka Okolo, the chief dealer at Molten Trust Limited. Thank you for your time. Let's also look at how investors can use. Of course, we have inflation rate at 11%. We have GDP now at 1.81%. Of course, it jumped a little bit from about 1.5% in the second quarter to 1.81% in the fourth quarter 2018. So if you put all of these figures together, interest rate also is at 14%. So if you put all of these figures together, that's significant enough in terms of numbers by which an investor can make a decision. So how do you think investors can use these indicators to take decision in the market, especially in the equities market?
So far, the interest rate at 14% MPR and all is still very attractive. It's still very attractive. That's why we are not having much in the equities market. The market is, if you observe, the market has been going down on account of higher interest rates. We have been. But figures alone do not tell the story. There is now, people are now questioning even the essence of GDP. Essence of GDP. There are a lot of articles being written now. Can't we go beyond GDP? When you talk of GDP, there are a lot of things you are neglecting. A lot of things that you are not taking into account. You take into account of security is not captured in GDP. The trust is not captured in GDP. These are some of the things that Nigeria as a country should be looking at. GDP is good. On the face of it, is good. But there is an emphasis. One of the Nobel laureates in economics has given everything an article, Professor Joseph, questioning the sense of, using GDP as
a benchmark to measure
whether the economy is moving or not. Yes, it is good, in terms of quantitative analysis. Yes, but there are also some qualitative issues you must look at.
So what are some of these issues?
And these are what the investors are looking at.
Okay.
Their security is very, very important. Election is approaching. A lot of war drums are being beaten by these politicians. The market, the equities market you mentioned, we had a lot of flight, for the equities market on account of uncertainty. Most of the portfolio investors we had withdrew. They are still waiting. Let us see what will happen. Let us see what will happen after 2019 election, February, March. They will decide whether to continue or not. This idea is very, very key to an average investor, more than any other thing. Are you going to have more reserves? The issue of naira, the issue of oil you mentioned about, dropping. if CBN is not able, the country is not able to have more reserves, how would they repatriate their fund when they want to? These are issues that you must look at, not just GDP. These are issues you must look at. So by and by, I think the issue of election is very, very critical at this point in time in the history of Nigeria. Everything, we must be very, very careful to get it right in 2019. Otherwise,
So what's the most of investors in the equities market at the moment, looking ahead of the election?
most of the investors, most of the activities we're having in the equity market are actually from the local investors. These are local investors that are fully participating. I'm not saying that the portfolio, but it has diminished. What they have been bringing to the market is not what it used to be. Some of them have withdrawn them. You were in the market, when there was a run, so to speak. There was a run almost, on a daily basis. It has to do with this issue of trust, security, whether we can, continue to do business in this country, considering what is going on. But after that, I think after the election, depending on how it goes and how we're able to manage ourselves, some of them may come back, some of them will not. Definitely, some. If it goes well, majority of them will come back. The market will pick up again. If it doesn't, it will be too bad.
But is there sort of perception about the Nigerian equities market, especially when we're heading the election year, or is it case peculiar, or it's all about, because when you talk about investors, portfolio investors pulling out their funds early?
It's always like that at every cycle, at every election cycle. It's always like that in Nigeria. Nigeria is a developing economy, So when they are not sure the direction you people are going, when they're outside, they are not sure the direction the country is going. It's bound to be this wait and see attitude. We continue.
Okay, Doctor, as we wrap up now, let's look at your projection for the 2019. Of course, the equities market between now and the election time. So, what are your projections? What likely should we be expecting in the market in terms of activities?
Frankly, I don't think it will be much different from what we're having now. It will be, we'll be having up and down, just the way we're having it now until after the election. I don't think anything significant will happen. Nothing, no dramatic change. It will still be up and down. Or share index may drop today, tomorrow it will peak. Okay, that undulating, movement. That's the way. Until after the election, we now decide how. If you ask me after March, I will be able to tell you the direction for 2019. But for now, between now and the election period, I don't think there'll be much.
The trend is still likely to.
The trend is still likely to
change.
Okay. Yes, it's likely to be the same.
Let's leave it there. Thank you so much, Dr. Emeka Okolo, Chief Dealer, Mountain Trust Limited. Thank you for your time on the show.
Welcome.
Let's leave it there. We'll take a moment now. We'll be back shortly. Join us again.